The following is a presentation of the HAN Network, the leader for local news, sports, and more in southwestern Connecticut.
Welcome to the Fairchild-Wheeler Municipal Course, as the HAN Network is proud to bring you live coverage of this afternoon's girls and boys FCIAC Championship. Frank Granito sitting alongside Kevin Coleman. The girls are underway here at the wheel. The boys are about to start teeing off at the moment, and we have a very exciting day at hand here, Kevin.
I mean, a beautiful day too, Frank. You talk about gorgeous weather we have here at Fairchild here in Fairfield. Perfect day here. Got to speak with Dave Schultz a little bit, the commissioner of the FCIAC. He was thrilled about the weather because, you know, during the beginning of the week, we weren't sure what kind of weather we got. Of course, look at last night, that thunderstorm that came through the Fairfield County area. So it's good to see that we got beautiful weather here, sunny and 75 for a perfect day of golf.
Beginning of this week and all of last week, too, we saw the weather impact the championships and many of the other sports that were going on. So the golfers getting the benefit of the doubt here as they pursue their championships a week later, as we've seen some of the girls here on the tee box at number 10. The scoring for the girls system, it is still the best team total. There will be 5 schools in play. They are Staples, New Canaan, Darien, Greenwich, and excuse me, it is also Ridgefield who is in there. On the boys' side of the match, you'll have 8 teams with 5 players going out, and the lowest 4 totals from each team will count. Low score wins. We will have interviews with the players and coaches as rounds conclude throughout the day, both on the girls and the boys' side. The big story today, Kevin, Greenwich favorite in the clubhouse on both sides. They're the number 1 seed. Do you see the Cardinals potentially being knocked off here after what has been phenomenal seasons?
They've had a great season, and I think Darien and New Canaan certainly have a great opportunity on both sides to knock down Greenwich. But I think on the girls' side, there's just too much right now. I think the Greenwich girls really have this one locked down if they can play great golf today. For the boys' side, I've liked what I saw from New Canaan at times during the season. Of course, we got a chance to cover Darien and New Canaan at the Country Club in New Canaan a couple weeks ago, and Darien pulled away with an impressive win. And Darien's a team that if they can get rolling through their 18, then this is a team that could cause some problems. So Greenwich, you know, they have a little bit of a tough time on the boys' side, but for the girls' side, I expect to see Greenwich winning that one.
And I'm sorry, on the girls' side, I said Ridgefield was at 15. It's actually Fairfield Ward, who was last year's runner-up in the FCIAC tournament. They are expecting big things today. Throughout this coverage, we will have score updates for you during the girls' match. Later on in the day, we'll do our best with the boys. The girls, using one of the systems we saw implemented for the cross-country track and field championships earlier in the year. So they've got spotters on the course doing their best. The boys, on the other hand, it's going to be sort of as you go along, we'll get a feel at the turn here. And speaking of the boys, how about Alex Gu yesterday shooting a 73 in the Holohan tournament? He was the individual champion for the FCIAC this year.
Well, we go back to that New Canaan match that we saw Darien play against at Country Club in New Canaan, and I think Alex Gu was that player that stood out to us the most. You know, he was so impressive that day, and again, that's a well-deserved, you know, award for him. He's well-deserving, and he's a great golfer. And getting a chance to speak with him after that match, very humble. So I'm very happy for him, and it's well-deserving.
John Kovac is on site with us as well. He will join us later on in the day. We also have a special Yankee fisherman coming up live from here at Fairchild-Wheeler. There's a lot going on as we get further and further into these matches. Let's step aside quickly, Kevin. When we come back, we'll have a score update on the girls and plenty more on a special Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
pizza to satisfy even the most demanding critics. Wilton Pizza.
On time, done right, safe and reliable. MrHandymanCT.com.
Let our satisfied customers tell it.
I have called Mr. Handyman for every reason, every occasion, every broken item, every leak. They have bailed me out on many occasions, and I would recommend them to anyone.
For any project, large or small.
MrHandymanCT.com.
Part of banking well is doing good. That's why, with the support of local community partners, Bankwell has launched the Bankwell Pet Adoption Project to boost awareness about the hundreds of animals in local shelters that need a home. And when you donate to the cause using the Bankwell self-service coin machines, we'll match your donation. For details, visit mybankwell.com/pleaseadoptme. Bank smart, bank local, bank well.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday, now at 3 locations: 131 Kings Highway North in Westport, the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Back on the HAN network at Fairchild-Wheeler, Frank Granito and Kevin Coleman, as we are bringing you live coverage of this afternoon's FCIAC Girls and Boys Golf Championships. We have an update on the girls' scoring right now, where the teams stand at, and Greenwich is in the lead, Kevin. They are plus 50 compared to par right now as we look at the board. New Canaan 7 strokes behind them, Ward at 9 behind, and that is through 9 holes of play, as we've been seeing girls groupings go off on the back. I believe we have seen the last grouping go off on the back is behind us now. We get one of the public groups that is heading out there. But a lot of what we expect now, and it's going to be very tough for these teams, specifically Ward and New Canaan, who are 7 and 9 back, to make up that difference. They're going to need to play near perfect golf on the back, and you really have got to focus on the putting, specifically inside of 4 feet.
Right, and you talk about that back nine, and that's where I think it gets a little tricky for these teams. Even the teams in the lead, like Greenwich, you have to play a perfect back nine. This course is a little tricky on the back nine too, so you have to play, you're right, for these teams like Darien, Fairfield, Ward, Staples, they have to play a perfect back nine here. And you mentioned Fairfield, Ward, and Staples. Those are two teams I forgot to mention in that last block. That I think those are two teams, especially on the boys' side, Staples. I think that's a team that if they can get rolling, that's another good golf program. I think that's on the rise. So it's good to see that Fairfield, Ward is climbing up there on the girls' side.
And you mentioned Staples. Let's take a moment. Let's go back to yesterday afternoon, because we were at Cardinal Stadium in Greenwich. We got to see one of the best lacrosse games of all season when the Cardinals, number 8 in Class L, hosted number 9 Staples. Goes down to the wire, 12-11. Greenwich is the winner. A Matt Bogger buzzer-beating goal was the difference maker. But first for Staples, they trailed by 2 with 2 minutes to go, and our own Mike Suppy was running the camera. He said he could see Wreckers fans just starting to leave, and even he knew then there's a lot of time left. They do deserve some credit for what they tried to pull off yesterday.
With a minute 54, they made that great comeback. And two of us spoke about it in the booth, how still plenty of time in lacrosse. And I'm still mind-boggled by Matt Bagger's goal, because a buzzer beater like that, you don't see that in lacrosse very often. He had a good head of steam coming out of that, out of bounds, beats his defender, and just whips almost a desperate shot on net. Somehow finds a little spot that goes in, and boy, what a great game. And you're right. You got to give Staples a lot of credit, because at that point, it's 11-9. You start to wonder, if they don't win that face-off, Greenwich basically has that sealed up. But you got to give Dash Sachs a lot of credit, even though he was dominated in the face-off X. Down the stretch, he was very strong, I thought, in that fourth quarter, which led to that comeback for Staples. And, again, another great game. I have to give a lot of respect to Staples Wreckers, because they played a lot of great games this season, Frank, that went down to the wire. And still, a game that I will never forget this year was that game at Staples against New Canaan. They took New Canaan to double overtime, and that was very impressive. I know they lost that game, but I gained a lot of respect for the lacrosse program, especially after that game.
It's a program that continues to be on the rise. They're going to lose a big senior class here. Players like Billy Hutchinson, Tanner Zinn, Tanner Wood, and Ethan Berger do not come around often, and they've helped the Records program so much to grow and become a competitor within the FCI conference. But ultimately now at the end of the day, everyone's still chasing Darien, and that's who Greenwich draws next. After seeing the Cardinals yesterday play a slower pace, play in a defensive struggle, what kind of a chance are you giving Greenwich against Darien?
You know, Greenwich is a very talented team, don't get me wrong. I think they have some great players. JT Lawrence is one of my favorite to watch on the defense. But again, just Darien's way too much. It's safe to say you can't play that slow-paced game against Darien, because we saw at times where Greenwich looked great slowing the pace down, but they turned the ball over a couple times. Plain and simple, you can't. And I mean can't turn the ball over. You have to play a perfect game against Darien. Yes, you can slow the pace on offense, keep them off their offensive game, but again, I don't think anyone's stopping Darien right now.
Is it any kind of consolation that the last team Darien lost to was Greenwich back in 2015? When we did the semifinals, I thought Greenwich was going to be the team that would take on Darien. I think the Cardinals have been very impressive all year. They've got a lot of talent defensively. Triscari in goal has played very, very well, but ultimately Jack Fita to me was the biggest difference maker. If the Cardinals are going to have a chance at knocking off Darien, Fita has to be the best player on the field offensively, which is not an easy thing to do when standing at the other end you've got Logan McGovern and Kevin Lindley.
Well, Matt Bogger has to have a great game as well. And the whole offense as a whole, I thought, at times, this is a Greenwich offense that doesn't have just one guy they rely on. They have a couple of good guys. They have good depth. But I think Darien, again, like you mentioned, just too much in the offensive way. And their defense, again, just so impressive. Arden Cohen, arguably one of the best defenders on this team. And just all around, it's just too much. And Ryan Cornell, a fantastic goalie. So I would like to see it to be a close game. But right now, the way Darien's playing, I don't know if it's going to be a close game or not.
Well, it was definitely a close game yesterday. 12-11 the final. Here are the highlights from the Cardinals win. Trying to open up for the big shot, and the skip pass goes to Muir. Passing in front, and Bogger able to convert on the one-timer opportunity. What a look from Muir behind the cage.
Great look inside by Addison Muir.
As this one opens up for the big blast, and it is Max Lonergan who powers one past Triscari, and we are tied at 1. Fred can do. As a pass up high, feeded a quick shot to the left side of the cage, and that one makes it 4-2.
And Frank, I don't know if you could hear it, but you could hear Coach Bobby Lutz. As soon as Fita got it in the pocket, you could hear him say, "Rip it, rip it."
Quickly up ahead. He lets a shot go, unable to answer. Took just 6 seconds, Kevin. And ahead with number come the Wreckers. One pass, two to the front of the net, score! It is Dobson Cooper.
DeVio.
And he just missed there as Fita able to collect the rebound. He tries to come all the way around, and he gets the wrap around to go. What a play by the sophomore. But they're tied again, as this time it is Wood who unleashes one and can beat Triscari. Zinn's got time and space, and he goes upstairs. Playoffs is now up over 60.
That's absurd.
There's a quick shot here, and just as Kevin calls it, Addison Muir onto the board.
The guy you want to start things off here. He's the playmaker. You see him hand him off to Tanner Wood.
Most importantly, you need to make sure you have someone backing up, but it doesn't matter. Dobson Cooper ties it up.
I think that's definitely the play they drew up. You see Evan Zinn starts it off, hands it off to Tanner Wood. Tanner Wood comes around that top part.
And to try to dodge and get to the front of the cage. He's got time and space. Lets it go. He scores!
Oh! Wow! Matt Bogger, what a finish.
The clock is on 0. The goal will count. The Cardinals are moving on to the quarterfinals. So we see it there again, the last second goal, and the officials were very confident. There was no hesitation. That ball was counting. It was in. It stood. Now you move forward. Greenwich moves on. Darien moves on. In Class M, we talked a little bit yesterday about New Canaan, how they would bounce back off that FCIAC loss. Big win for the Rams, 18-2 as they roll past Massac. And I was wrong because I did not expect that kind of performance. I definitely thought New Canaan would win yesterday, but I thought they might struggle a little bit. That was not the case for a well-rested Rams team.
It seems like a win like that, they came out with some vengeance. They wanted to forget about what happened in the FCIAC playoffs. They want to move past that. Of course, still a little ticked off that they were eliminated early on. They wanted to reach that final, but I think they're using that as motivation. And what a big confidence booster that is, winning 18-2 against a good Massac team like that in Class M. So that's a big win for New Canaan.
It will be a lot of fun seeing how the Rams progress. We're going to have more on the state tournaments as the day progresses. Let's step aside now. When we get back, we'll have footage of the rules officials explaining for the boys as they get set to tee off here at Fairchild-Wheeler on the HAN Network.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family and Children's Aid has been serving the community since 1809 and is now the largest outpatient children's mental health care provider in Western Connecticut. Our innovative services include providing shelter to homeless moms and children, substance abuse intervention, mental health counseling, and foster and adoptive services, among others. Our goal is to provide individuals and families a safe haven and hope for a brighter future. Find out more about us at fcaweb.org and call our Danbury campus at 203-748-5689.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with one of the largest inventories of new 2- and 4-door Wranglers. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Browse our websites, scapchryslerjeep.com or scapdodge.net to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck you've been looking for. Just 2 miles from both I-95 or the Merritt Parkway exit 44. Save thousands right now during the Drive and Discover event. Now through June 30th.
In Sports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Sign-ups are now open for one of our most popular programs, the New England 80 Elite Lacrosse Division I and Division III Showcases. With D1 and D3 coaches in attendance, players will receive a 60-minute webinar with Director of Recruiting Hans Hansen, a custom NE80 penny, custom shorts, and a video of all games. Last year's event sold out quickly, so sign up now for the next showcase coming in January 2018. Like and follow us on Facebook.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back on the HAN Network at the Fairchild-Wheeler Municipal Course, we get a look at the 18th green now. The first group of girls are making their way up the fairway. They've got to climb that hill, and we'll see them shortly. We mentioned there are 5 teams competing for the overall FCIAC championship. The girls are also doing individualists today, Kevin, so there are 5 other schools represented with individual groups, so we will see them first and then get into the team scoring. There's a bit of a gap we've just learned between that first group as they're playing to the proper pace of play, keeping it up, which everyone on the golf course wants to see. A couple of big rules, which we're going to go over soon. Lift clean and place is in effect today. Any ball in your own fairway. They're also playing lift clean and rake out of the bunkers. So that's a little bit interesting, and it's largely to do with all the weather and specifically the storms we saw last night, making some of the turf areas a little soggier than others.
Well, it's good to see that, especially after the weather we had last night, that big rainstorm and thunderstorm we saw come through. was worried about what the greens would look like today, but they look beautiful. So you got to credit the grounds crew for doing an excellent job here on all the 18 holes for making sure there's no puddles or anything really going on that can cause any problems or anything for the golfers today. So you got to give them a lot of credit after the rain, a lot of rain, I should say, that we had last night.
John Kovac was over at the putting green for the rules demonstration. Let's go over there and take a look in.
And he said they got a lot of rain here, so we're going to play lift, clean in place through the fairways, through the greens. Lift, rake, and place for bunkers. He doesn't think that there's any water in any of the bunkers, so there shouldn't be a problem with hurricane rules. There are environmental sensitive areas with they're yellow stakes. Don't go in there after you ball. Just play that as a lateral hazard.
He said lift, clean, and place to the greens.
Lift, clean, and place anywhere.
Lift, clean in place in the fairways, hurricane rules in the bunkers. Are we playing lift, clean in place everywhere on the golf course?
Just
in your own fairway. Bill, make sure you reiterate that on the tee. We had a team disqualified in the state tournament who did that when they weren't supposed to. In your own fairway only. Lift, clean in place in the fairway of the hole you're playing only.
And bunkers.
And then in the sand traps you could rake and place the ball. In the rough you play the ball
And the bunkers.
That was Tom O'Donnell, the head coach of the Darien Blue Wave there, reiterating, please make sure the golfers know lift, clean in place is only in your fairway. You heard about the Wave seeing a team that was disqualified in states last year for doing that in an opposite fairway.
Yeah, it's disappointing when things like that have to happen, when you just get disqualified like that, especially in golf. But it's good that they had the opportunity to address all the rules. Of course, you want to do that before any match, and to be able to get all the teams here and address all the rules that you want to establish here and make sure that everyone follows it. It's very important.
Speaking of disqualifications, Kevin, while we're on the girls' side here, let's talk about the Darien girls tennis team just for a moment, who was disqualified from the state tournament after their first round victory over Southington. It was learned a player on the roster had been competing outside of the sanctioned CIAC ground rules. Unfortunate, too, when you think about how successful the team was this year. They won the FCIAC championship. I just want to get your thoughts briefly on this situation.
I think the big word is disappointing, and we saw this in the fall with Danbury and boys soccer. It's things like these you don't want to see happen, and you kind of wish you could control it before it ever happened. But again, you see this every once in a while, and it's extremely disappointing because you talk about Darien tennis, so talented. You go up and down that full roster. It's a very talented program. And to have someone competing outside of the FCIAC, it's extremely disappointing, and you don't like seeing that.
It's one of those weird circumstances too, specifically with tennis, where the gray line is very iffy on, well, was she truly competing for another team or for another tournament outside? So we'll have more on that story throughout the day as well. As we look over now, the girls have made their way up onto the 18th green. We've got a couple of balls up at the green. Can see a Ludlow Falcon, Kevin, a Ridgefield Tiger represented. It looks like there's one more player that will be playing up here.
You see Richfield's going to go for the long putt here.
It's a quick green. There's a slope and a hill off to her right, as you see that ball just sort of tail off to the left at the end. Left herself an uphill putt, though. So good lag there. And this pin, Kevin, is positioned right probably 2 feet below the hill with the major slope of the fairway. Unlikely many of these players are going to find themselves all the way up to the back of it, especially when we get to the boys masters. You'll see some of these players use that hill to their advantage and try to use some spin off a light wedge and pull it back down.
And that's a nice hit. Gonna go a little too long. still a nice chip. And again, we're going to see another long putt here on 18.
Kevin, you can see what appears to be a mist in the background of the shot here. That is pollen blowing off of the trees. There's a long putt here. Good roll.
That was a great shot there. And we talked about that pollen. It's that, of course, it's that time of year, but you don't usually see this very often.
That will be tapped in. Well done. So the first girl of the FCIAC championship has officially gone in pocket. We will have those numbers updated for you. But I just steered a little too strong. Tap that in. So the girls now will start to file in again. We said there's a bit of a gap here after this first group, but we get our first look at the action on 18.
And talk about that uphill slope that they have to climb up. That's a nice putt. That's a good start for the girls.
Little right
there,
to
Frank.
left, so good job by the girls there. And with that, Kevin, let's step aside quickly. We'll have more girls filing up on the HAN network as we are just above the 18th green at the Fairchild-Wheeler Municipal Course for the FCIAC Golf Championships on the home of FCIAC Sports, the HAN network.
You don't have to go far for authentic Neapolitan cuisine and renowned wood-fire pizza. Pizzeria Loretano of Bethel is a contemporary Italian bistro, specializing in authentic wood-fired brick oven pizza Napolitana. Pizzeria Loretano was named one of America's top 1,000 Italian restaurants in 2008 by Zagat, and recommended by Jane and Michael Stern on National Public Radio's Splendid Table. Located close to the Bethel Cinema, we focus on quality, and our food is always made to order. Join us for live jazz Sundays from 6 to 8. Find our schedule, menu, and more at pizzerialoretano.com, and like us on Facebook.
Did you know heart attacks and strokes are the leading cause of death in America? Protect the health of you and your loved ones. Talk to a doctor about heart disease. Hi, I'm Dr. David Pazer with ProHealth Physicians, encouraging you to stay informed about health matters that affect you.
ProHealth Physicians is on the pulse of social media to share information about health and nutrition with the community. Get up-to-the-minute alerts, including ProHealth Physicians news and upcoming events. Connecticut's leading group of primary care doctors is just a click away.
UK Gourmet is the largest specialty grocer in the area, featuring food from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Over 80 teas to choose from and a brilliant assortment of biscuits to go with them. Over 70 cheeses from grass-fed cows, which makes a smashing difference in taste. The creamiest chocolate you'll ever taste using no artificial colors or preservatives. So say hooray for UK Gourmet, 78 Stony Hill Road in Bethel, or visit ukgourmet.us.
La France de Chartrenet, c'est la France de tous les Français.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
The new fishing season is fast approaching, so it's time to head over to the dock shop and get your gear in order. We're now offering bait in both Darien and our Westport location. The dock shop can service and repair your rods and reels, spool up new line, and fill any empty space you might have in your tackle box. Whether you're a fisherman, boater, or beach bum, the dock shop is a unique place to shop. The dock shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
Restaurant and wine bar in Bethel. Fresh and simple food is our concept. Owned and operated by
03-544-8376 today.
Back on the AJ Network as we are through 12 holes of play in the girls FCIAC tournament, and we get a look at the scores now. New Canaan is 3 behind Greenwich when it comes to par. They've moved 10 ahead of Fairfield-Ward, followed by Darien and Staples, who are both at plus 92. So the Rams hanging around right now with the Cardinals, Kev. As we've seen one group already up on the green. Those were the individuals competing this afternoon. It was a member from the Staples Wreckers, the Richfield Tigers, and the Fairfield Ludlow Falcons. 2 of those schools sending individuals because their teams did not qualify for the overall tournament. But thought we saw some nice play for that first group, especially which can be very nerve-wracking as they were not anticipating walking up here and having a camera in their face.
Yeah, not only that, they had a little bit of a crowd too, so you got to credit the girls for having a nice finish there and a couple of nice putts to end 18. But I think New Canaan, that's a team, again, that we talked about can hang around with Greenwich this afternoon. You're seeing them only 3 behind right now, so they're in a good spot right now. I think if they can finish out strong, that certainly can have a little threat for Greenwich.
And we talked about a member of the Staples Wreckers golf team being here. I also wanted to stay with that Staples topic. Ben Kasparius, named the Gatorade Player of the Year for Connecticut baseball. He's the first Wreckers player to ever win the award. I wanted to get your thoughts on that award. Was he deserving? Is this the right choice? What were you thinking about all this?
I think it was well deserving. I think Ben Kasparius, without him, I think you remove him from that roster from Staples, any team, I think you're going to suffer. I think Ben Kasparius is a huge talent in baseball. He has the baseball IQ. Not only can he pitch, but he can hit. And I think UNC is going to get a great talented player that's going to be a great baseball player for college baseball.
His stat line before the game yesterday read 477 batting average. He had 7 home runs, 29 RBIs, 3-2 as a pitcher with a 2.52 ERA. And really, I think what brought me around on it, because I thought there could be a little debate, and it's tough to go against a senior, especially one so proven. When you think about the career, it really all adds up for Ben Kasparius. But the way he comes out yesterday against Wilton and just completely holds them in check, 13 strikeouts in that game, he deserves that reward, and he solidified that yesterday with his performance in the state tournament.
I was going to say that next because you talk about that performance against Wilton that he had yesterday. 13 strikeouts, and this is a Wilton Warrior team coming off an FCIAC championship win, swinging red hot. I mean, that lineup 1 through 9 is everything is clicking for them. So to be able to shut down that offense and still be as dominant as he was, I mean, he just goes after hitters. It's not a science. He just bang, bang, bang. He's always that first pitch strike, always ahead in the count, never really falls behind. He's just so dominant on the mound, and 13 strikeouts against Wilton Warriors, boy, that is very impressive.
We've got 4 teams that have moved on to the next round from the FCIAC in baseball. How do you feel about the FCIAC odds now at winning a state championship, breaking this Amity run after yesterday?
I like their chances. I think just talking to people outside the FCIAC too, I think Amity has lost a little bit from last year. Yes, they're still number 1. Don't get me wrong. This is a great team that can certainly win it all again, but I think they lost a big senior class last year. They still have a lot of talented players and some young players, may I add, that are really stepping up big. But why not? I think the FCIAC is well deserving. West Hill, I think, would love to, get a championship in there after a disappointing FCIAC postseason. So yes, I say why not. Staples, I think that that's a team that if they can get red hot in the playoffs, they can make a run for it. So yes, I say why not.
And you talk about the state of FCIAC baseball for a moment, because we saw a very wide open year across the board. You had 10, 11 teams that were really in the hunt for the playoffs. 6 or 7 of those teams that really felt could go all the way and win a championship. At the end of the day, Wilton wins their second in 3 years. But now, Kevin, you see a lot of big-name players, career players who we've come to know that are about to vacate programs. What's next for FCIAC baseball? And looking forward, where does the torch get passed to? Or is it going to stay with the Warriors as they continue maybe to start a dynasty kind of run here?
I think you can hand it back to the Warriors, but at the same time, I think you look at West Hill. Yes, they're losing some big time seniors, but they got a lot of production from some underclassmen. Look at Richfield; they still have some guys in that roster that have produced that are underclassmen, maybe even juniors. They're going to get a big senior class next year. Alex Price gets to come back as a senior. That southpaw, I mean, he's been so dominant this year. I think next year is going to be a fun year. I think we're going to see some great players come back. Yes, it's disappointing that we're going to lose some great players. You know, one of my favorite players not only was Ben Kasparius, but Drew Connolly of the Wilton Warriors. It's disappointing that we're going to not see him not only on the hardwood but on the diamond next year. So we're going to lose a lot of great players, but I think Wilton is a program. The coaching staff has done a phenomenal job. They have the great youth program down there for Wilton. I think they're still going to have a great dynasty, but we'll see what happens. I think they're going to still be some great teams next year in FCIAC baseball. As
we've got those FCIAC schools that have advanced on, you see Amity is going to take on Fairfield-Ludlow.
How about Ludlow?
That is a great surprise team. That's going to be my next question for you. Fairfield Prep and Danbury. Ridgefield still alive against Enfield. And West Hill playing Staples. So we know at least one more FCIAC team is moving on. Let's start with the Falcons, who have had quite the run here in this postseason after missing out on the FCIAC tournament. What do they have to do against Amity to continue this miracle run?
They have to play a perfect game.
Yeah, that's...
Listen, this is a very good Falcons team, but they're going up against number one, and when you're going up against number one, there's a little bit of an added pressure too. But if I'm Fairfield-Ludlow, I'm going in relaxed. I think put the pressure on the number one seed, because you can upset them and put all the pressure on Amity. Go in there, relax, don't have too much pressure on themselves.
Danbury is a team I really like. I think they're getting hot at the right time too, and they feel a little slighted just with the way they kind of missed out on the FCIAC tournament. Now, I understand the protest was played in right, and they lost the extra inning that they had to win, but that's a tough scenario either way you spin it. But I like the Hatters right now. And for Ridgefield, we've known that they can rely on pitching and go as far as they want to, and they've got two top-tier starters that can get them through any tournament.
The pitching staff has been phenomenal. The bullpen's been great for Ridgefield. Again, I like Danbury too. This is a scrappy team, blue-collared. This is a team that will fight to the end. And I think this is a team that if they can get past this game, I think they can move on and really make a run for it. Ridgefield as well. There's still some very talented FCIAC teams remaining, and I think Ridgefield and Danbury certainly have a chance at making it to the final.
Staples West Hill will certainly be a great matchup. For the Wreckers, no Kasparius on the bunt. We expect we'll probably see Chad Knight get the start in that one.
Hey, having Chad Knight in the mound's not too bad either there, Frank. But against West Hill, that's going to be a tough game. But right now, I think the pressure is on West Hill. After being that one seed in the FCIAC and, making that early exit, I think right now, if you're Staples, you have to go and relax because, I think these two teams are very similar at ways. But right now, I have to give it to Staples. They're playing great baseball at the right time.
In Class L, New Canaan was still alive until yesterday. They fell to Fitch 5-4 in their second round matchup as the Rams season, which really they overachieved in, has come to an end. And disappointing, but no reason for New Canaan to hang their heads. Kev, we are going to step aside one more time. When we get back, we're going to have more action on 18 as the girls continue their way up. We've got highlights from the entire FCIAC spring season. We're going to talk a lot about what we got to see this year, and we'll be joined with coaches and players as well on a special Nutmeg Sports at Fairchild-Wheeler Municipal Course on the AJN Network.
The new fishing season is fast approaching, so it's time to head over to the dock shop and get your gear in order. We're now offering bait in both Darien and our Westport location. The dock shop can service and repair your rods and reels, spool up new line, and fill any empty space you might have in your tackle box. Whether you're a fisherman, boater, or beach bum, the dock shop is a unique place to shop. The dock shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
MrHandymanCT.com.
Let our satisfied customers tell it.
I have called Mr. Handyman for every reason, every occasion, every broken item, every leak. They have bailed me out on many occasions, and I would recommend them to anyone.
For any project, large or small.
MrHandymanCT.com.
Part of banking well is doing good. That's why, with the support of local community partners, Bankwell has launched the Bankwell Pet Adoption Project to boost awareness about the hundreds of animals in local shelters that need a home. And when you donate to the cause using the Bankwell self-service coin machines, we'll match your donation. For details, visit mybankwell.com/pleaseadoptme. Bank smart, bank local, bank well.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday, now at 3 locations: 131 Kings Highway North in Westport, the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family and Children's Aid has been serving the community since 1809 and is now the largest outpatient children's mental health care provider in Western Connecticut. Our innovative services include providing shelter to homeless moms and children, substance abuse intervention, mental health counseling, and foster and adoptive services, among others. Our goal is to provide individuals and families a safe haven and hope for a brighter future. Find out more about us at fcaweb.org and call our Danbury campus at 203-748-5689.
Give your day a jumpstart with the latest news, sports, weather, and more on Coffee Break, live on the HAN Network, weekdays at 11 a.m. Connecticut news doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break.
We are back on the HAN Network at Fairchild-Wheeler's Municipal Course. Frank Granito and Kevin Coleman up alongside the 18th green as some of the ladies have come up. We've got a player from New Canaan, Fairfield Ward. And Greenwich as well, as the first group has finished here.
Yeah, you just talked about this weather. It's worked out so well for the FCIAC championship here. It's a gorgeous day. You're starting to see balls fly up here. Start to see some action here on the green.
Start to see groups come up now closer and closer together for the ladies championships. Still got a couple of residential groups going off on 10 right now. The boys' first grouping teed off at 12:20. We expect they'll make the turn hopefully sometime around 2:20ish in that time frame. Ideally, you don't want to see them over 2 hours on the front. You don't want to be over 4 hours on the ground. But that obviously a possibility here with 40 groups going out within the tournament.
That's a lot of golf today there, Frank.
That's definitely a lot of golf.
It's a lot going on.
And you talk about a lot going on, Kevin. Let's go back to all that we saw this year. And as you have to put into perspective the 2016 and 2017 FCIAC sports year, what are the first words that come to mind?
Ooh, that's probably the best question you've asked me this season. Wow, I think it's one word?
Not necessarily one word, but some of the first words that come to mind.
Blown away. I think blown away. Some of these games you talk about not only in the fall but the winter. You know, some of these gut-wrenching, hard-working overtime games in basketball and hockey, and you talk about volleyball going to 5 sets, and coming down to the match point, and soccer games going down the final minute in the stoppage time. So there have been some remarkable games, and you start to see the first ball hit the green here. That's a nice shot.
That's a remarkable shot there, pin high on the right side. Have a little bit of a downhill putt off that slope. But for me, the first word that I really think of is special. And I think this graduating senior class across the board for all these schools, it will truly be remembered as special when you think about everything that we got to see. I mean, first of all, this Ridgefield senior class, we had talked a couple of weeks ago that they were 1 or 2 spring championships away from being, without a doubt, the greatest senior class in high school history. They went to 4 championships last week and unfortunately couldn't break through within the conference. But I mean, it's still just, you think about going to the FCIAC championship in girls lacrosse, boys lacrosse, baseball, and volleyball. It's frustrating when 3 of those losses are against Darien and the other one is against your biggest rival. But I mean, it was performances like that. Again, through all the hype and all the nonsense, the football season came down to New Canaan and Darien, both undefeated, everything we thought, and it looked as though Darien's going to run away with it, and then this incredible comeback. And we have one of the best games we've ever seen as a little punch up here, try to run it out. Oh, that's got to release, Kevin.
Still, I mean, it's not the worst putt, but it's going to be a little long ways.
And we've talked about it so many times, and we're going to talk about it until we're blue in the face, but I don't know that there are enough words out there to describe the FCIAC championship in basketball.
There aren't. And what's great, and what you say the word special, and I think special, blown away. You can go on and on, but people in Ridgefield still, and it's June 1st, still are talking about that game, and it's left such a huge impact in that community in Ridgefield, and it's still really cool to see. And it's something that for not only these seniors, but for Coach McClelland and the rest of that team, the rest of the high school, that's a game those students, and especially the student sessions, will never forget.
This group representing Fairfield Ludlow, Fairfield Ward, and Staples. This played up. It was a good read, just a little slower off that first cut than anticipated, so about 5 feet remaining on that one. Now this member of the Mustangs ladies team should have gotten a good read off it. Have an idea of where she wants to go with it. It's going to try to fall off to the right at first, but it wants to come back to the left off that hill towards the hole.
A little bit of that downhill action there.
This one a very slick putt. Need to be gentle with it. Oh.
And that's exactly what you said, Frank. You want to aim to the right, have it hook to the left. Just missed that front lip of the cup.
Well played regardless. 2 putts on this green is well done, especially with today's pin placement just tucked away within that hill on the 18th green here at the wheel. As this one's got a chance. Oh,
had good speed too.
Just burned the edge. Put a mark on it. Take her time. You can see down on the tee box, Kevin, there is the next group getting set up. We're in a better position at the moment, but camera, you get a good look at this green, and it looks as though it's almost just a 90-degree drop off. Not that severe, but still, it's quite the upslope. You're probably going to add 15, 20 yards to any shot you're going to play on your way up with a mid-iron in.
And you talk about one of the toughest holes, and you finish off on 18 here, and we've talked about that green already, how it has that slope down.
That's going to be frustrating, not the way she would have liked to finish the day, but again, groups starting to make their way in as that one is tapped in cleanly. On 18 at the wheel, we'll step aside, and when we get back, we'll have more of the ladies' action and an update on the scores here on the HAN Network.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with one of the largest inventories of new 2- and 4-door Wranglers. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Browse our websites, scapchryslerjeep.com or scapdodge.net to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck you've been looking for. Just 2 miles from both I-95 or the Merritt Parkway exit 44. Save thousands right now during the Drive and Discover event. Now through June 30th.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Sign-ups are now open for one of our most popular programs, the New England 80 Elite Lacrosse Division I and Division III showcases. With D1 and D3 coaches in attendance, players will receive a 60-minute webinar with Director of Recruiting Hans Hansen, a custom NE80 penny, custom shorts, and a video of all games. Last year's event sold out quickly, so sign up now for the next showcase coming in January 2018. Like and follow us on Facebook.
You don't have to go far for authentic Neapolitan cuisine and renowned wood-fire pizza. Pizzeria Loretano of Bethel is a contemporary Italian bistro, specializing in authentic wood-fired brick-oven pizza Napolitana. Pizzeria Loretano was named one of America's top 1,000 Italian restaurants in 2008 by Zagat, and recommended by Jane and Michael Stern on National Public Radio's Splendid Table. Located close to the Bethel Cinema, we focus on quality, and our food is always made to order. Join us for live jazz Sundays from 6 to 8. Find our schedule, menu, and more at pizzerialoretano.com, and like us on Facebook.
Did you know heart attacks and strokes are the leading cause of death in America? Protect the health of you and your loved ones. Talk to a doctor about heart disease. Hi, I'm Dr. David Pazer with ProHealth Physicians, encouraging you to stay informed about health matters that affect you.
ProHealth Physicians is on the pulse of social media to share information about health and nutrition with the community. Get up-to-the-minute alerts, including ProHealth Physicians news and upcoming events. Connecticut's leading group of primary care doctors is just a click away.
Pizza to satisfy even the most demanding critics. Wilton Pizza.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN Network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We are back at Fairchild-Wheeler here on the HA Network. We got to look at the individual leader scores as Alexa Brown of Trumbull currently in the lead. Kevin doing very well. She's followed by Megan Mitchell of Greenwich and Emily Healy that was Megan Mitchell of Darien. As another group has made their way up on 218. But we're going to step aside, Kevin. It is Thursday. We've got the Yankee Fishermen scheduled to come on.
That's right.
We'll be back shortly. We're going to have coverage of the trophy presentation for the girls. We'll have their rounds finishing up here on 18. And, of course, the boys tournament as it plays on throughout the afternoon here at the Wheel on the HAN Network.